AITA for exposing my parents for using my late grandma's money for my sister's mortgage? My name is Brielle. I'm 29 and I live in Madison, Wisconsin, in a one-bedroom apartment above a dentist's office that always smells faintly like peppermint and printer toner. I work as a payroll coordinator for a regional grocery chain, which means I spend most of my days catching other people's mistakes before they turn into somebody's missed rent. I drive an older Honda Civic with a passenger side mirror held together by tape and optimism. My kitchen table wobbles if I lean on the wrong corner. Most nights, dinner is whatever I can make in one pan after staring at direct deposit deadlines, W-2 corrections, and spreadsheets that never seem to end. My younger sister, Sabrina, is 26 and has always been the sparkly one in my family. She was gifted, sensitive, creative, and meant for bigger things. I was practical, steady, and so easy. That sounds flattering until you realize easy usually means nobody checks whether you're tired. Sabrina's engagement dinner was on a Sunday at my parents' split-level house in a suburb outside Madison. Their place looked the same as it always did. Beige carpet, a brass light fixture over the dining table, and framed photos everywhere. Sabrina in dance costumes. Sabrina at graduation. Sabrina holding up a ribbon from some art fair. Sabrina and Nolan smiling in matching Packers hoodies after he proposed. There were photos of me too, technically. One from high school. One from my community college graduation where my mom had cut half my shoulder out of the frame. My mother, Marla, had made baked ziti and bought a grocery store sheet cake with "Congratulations Sabrina" and Nolan written in blue frosting. We ate off paper plates because, as Mom said, no one wants dishes tonight. Nolan, Sabrina's fiancé, was sitting beside her with his hand on the back of her chair. He was 31, an assistant basketball coach at a high school, and one of those men who seemed polite by reflex. He laughed at my dad's dry jokes and called my mother Mrs. Marla, even after she told him to stop. After dinner, Mom cleared her throat in that way she did when she wanted everyone to pretend something spontaneous was happening. "We have one more little surprise," she said. Sabrina looked down at her lap, smiling like she already knew the surprise. Dad came in from the kitchen carrying a manila folder with a Wisconsin Credit Union logo on the front. He set it beside the cake. "We didn't want to make a big thing of it," Mom said, while absolutely making it a big thing. Dad tapped the folder. Sabrina and Nolan found a house. Nolan's face lit up. "It's not huge or anything. A starter place. New subdivision near Sun Prairie. 3 bedrooms, open kitchen, little yard." Sabrina leaned into him. "It has the cutest breakfast nook." "That's great," I said, and I meant it for about 3 seconds. Then Mom slid the folder toward me. "We're helping them make it happen," she said. "All of us." I stared at the folder. "What does that mean?" "It means," Dad said, using his calm voice, "the credit union needs a stronger cosigner to get everything across the line." For a second, I thought I had misunderstood him. The room still smelled like ziti and frosting. Sabrina's engagement ring flashed under the dining room light as she twisted it around her finger. "You want me to co-sign their mortgage?" I asked. Mom made a soft clicking sound with her tongue. "Don't say it like that. It's not some random thing. It's your sister." The folder was already open now. My name was typed on several pages. Brielle, right there in black ink, like I had been invited after the decision was made. I looked at Sabrina. "You knew about this?" Her eyes got shiny immediately. Sabrina could cry with the speed of a weather change. "We didn't want to stress you out," she said. "You always get weird about money." "I work in payroll," I said. "Being weird about money is kind of the point." Mom laughed too quickly. "Brielle." Nolan shifted in his chair. I thought she already agreed. There it was. The first little crack. I turned to him. I didn't know this was happening until right now. His hand slipped off Sabrina's chair. Dad leaned back and folded his arms. "Nobody's forcing you. We're asking for help." "No," I said quietly. "You're asking me in front of everyone at her engagement dinner with my name already on the forms." The kitchen went silent except for the refrigerator humming. Mom pushed the folder closer. "Just take a look. It's mostly formal. Your credit is excellent and you don't have kids or a mortgage. This is exactly the kind of thing families do for each other." That sentence had followed me my whole life. Family helped Sabrina try ballet, then private voice lessons, then a photography workshop in Door County. Family helped when she dropped out of college because her dorm had bad energy. Family helped when she opened a candle studio that lasted 7 months and somehow cost more than my car. Family helped when she needed a creative recovery trip to Sedona after the candle studio closed. I paid for my own community college classes in installments and ate peanut butter toast for dinner during midterms. But I was practical, so I was fine. I flipped through the pages slowly, mostly to give my hands something to do. I saw a mortgage application, a pre-approval letter, income estimates, down payment funds, and a separate funding worksheet. My name appeared under cosigner. Sabrina's name appeared under applicant. Nolan's too. Then my eyes caught a partial account number near the bottom of one page. It was only the last 4 digits, but they made my stomach tighten. Not because I knew them perfectly, but because they felt familiar in that strange way a smell or a song can drag you backward. There was also a note in small print. Estate-linked funds pending verification. I kept my face still. Why does this mention an estate account? I asked. Mom reached for the page so fast she almost knocked over her water. That's just paperwork language. Dad said. Credit unions overlabel things. That was not a thing. I worked with financial forms all week. Overlabeling was not an explanation. Sabrina dabbed under her eye with a napkin. Can we not turn my engagement dinner into an audit? I'm asking a question. You're making it bigger than it is, Mom said. Nolan looked between them, confused now. What estate account? No one needs to get into all that tonight, Dad said. I closed the folder and slid it back, but not all the way. I'm not signing anything tonight. Sabrina let out a small sound, as if I had embarrassed her in public. Bree, please, she said. She only called me Bree when she wanted something. This house is our fresh start. You and Nolan can still buy a house without me. Not this one, she said. Mom's mouth tightened. Your sister has had a difficult few years. I know. I paid for some of them. Dad's eyes sharpened. Watch your tone. I felt 12 years old for half a second, sitting at that same table while everyone explained why Sabrina needed the bigger bedroom because she was more sensitive to noise. Then I looked down at the mortgage folder and remembered my name typed on papers I had never seen. I'll take copies, I said. Mom blinked. Copies? If you want me to consider signing legal documents, I need copies. No, Sabrina said quickly. I mean, they're not final. Then I definitely shouldn't sign them. Nolan cleared his throat. That seems fair. Sabrina turned on him as if he had stepped on her dress. I took photos of the pages with my phone while Mom stood behind me breathing heavily through her nose. Dad didn't stop me, but his jaw worked the whole time. When I left, Sabrina followed me to the front door. You always do this, she whispered. I had my coat over one arm and my keys in my hand. Do what? Make me feel small because you're responsible and perfect. I almost laughed, but there was nothing funny in her face. She really believed that my not wanting to attach myself to her mortgage was an attack. I'm not perfect, I said. I'm careful. That must be nice. I looked past her at the living room wall, where 3 of her engagement photos were already framed. Good night, Sabrina. By the time I got to my Civic, the family group chat was already lighting up. The chat was named Home Team because my mother liked things to sound more wholesome than they were. Mom, please don't leave upset. Dad, we need to discuss this like adults. Sabrina, I can't believe you humiliated me. Mom, nobody is attacking you, honey. Sabrina, she literally ruined dessert. I sat in the driver's seat with the engine off, watching my breath fog the windshield. Then Nolan texted me separately. Nolan, I'm sorry. I really thought you knew. I typed back, careful. Me, I didn't. Ask to see every document before you sign anything. He didn't answer. The next morning I messed up 2 spreadsheet formulas before 9:30, which for me was like someone else showing up to work without shoes. My manager, Monica, noticed immediately. She was 44, practical, sharp-eyed, and allergic to drama unless it affected payroll deadlines. She stopped by my desk holding a mug that said, I'm not your work mom. You look like you slept in a parking lot, she said. Family thing. Dangerous category. I tried to smile. They want me to co-sign my sister's mortgage. Monica's eyebrows rose. Do not do that casually. That's the thing. They acted like it was casual. But there was an estate note on one of the forms, and I think I recognized part of the account number. She pulled the guest chair closer and Saturday recognized from where? My grandmother's estate. Maybe. I'm not sure. Monica set her mug down. Paper beats panic. Get documents. Save texts. Don't take pressure calls. If they want to talk, they can write it down. I nodded, but my throat felt tight. She softened a little. And freeze your credit if your gut is making noise. That afternoon during lunch, I went down to my car and searched my phone photos from the dinner. I zoomed in on the funding worksheet until the numbers blurred. The last 4 digits matched a memory I didn't trust yet. After work, I drove home through gray Madison slush and climbed the stairs to my apartment. The dentist's office below was closed, but the hallway still smelled like mint and copier paper. I pulled everything out of the closet. Winter boots, a broken fan, a box of tax returns, and finally the old manila folder from when my grandmother died. Grandma Elaine had been my mother's mother, and she was the only person in my family who saw me without needing me to be useful. When I was 16, she taught me how to make soup without measuring. When I was 20, she mailed me a $50 bill with a note that said, "For groceries, not Sabrina." After her funeral, Mom had handed me the folder and said, "Just estate odds and ends. Nothing you need to worry about." I had kept it because I keep everything. Inside were old letters, a copy of Grandma's service program, and several documents I hadn't understood at 23. There was a statement from a small trust account. There was a reference to a rental duplex in Janesville. There was a page with an account number. The last 4 digits matched. I sat on the floor in my work pants, surrounded by papers, and found a yellow sticky note attached to one page. The handwriting was my grandmother's, slanted and firm. For Brielle because she won't ask. I had to put the note down. Not because it explained everything, but because it explained enough. I called Aunt Verna that night. She was my grandmother's younger sister, blunt enough to make weather reports sound personal. She answered with, "Who is bothering you?" That almost made me cry. "Did Grandma leave me something?" I asked. There was a pause. "She left you more than something," Verna said. "Why?" My hand tightened around the phone. I don't think I got it. The silence that followed was not confusion. It was recognition. "Tell me exactly what happened," she said. So I did. I told her about the engagement dinner, the mortgage folder, the estate-linked funds, and the account number. I told her Mom and Dad acted like it was nothing. Aunt Verna exhaled heavily. "Elaine wanted that money protected," she said. "She saw what your mother did." Sabrina sneezed and the whole house rearranged itself. "You could be standing there with a fever and they'd ask you to make soup." I closed my eyes. "She left it to me?" "To you. Not to the family. Not to Marla. Not to Sabrina. You." "But Mom managed it?" "Only until you were old enough. Elaine told me control was supposed to transfer when you turned 25. I was 29. For a moment, all I could hear was the radiator ticking in my apartment. "Aunt Verna," I said slowly, "why didn't anyone tell me?" "I thought you knew. Your mother told me it had been handled." Handled. That word landed like a locked door. The next morning I called Mr. Whitaker, the attorney who had handled my grandmother's estate. His office was near a coffee shop downtown, and when his assistant heard my name, her voice changed just enough for me to notice. He agreed to meet me 2 days later. In the meantime, my family shifted tactics. Mom started sweet. "Mom, I made too much chicken soup. Want me to drop some off?" When I didn't answer within 20 minutes, she changed her tone. "Mom, I hope you understand how much stress you're causing your sister." Dad called twice. I let both calls go to voicemail. His first message was calm. "Brielle, let's not overcomplicate this. Call me." His second was tighter. "Ignoring us is not mature." Sabrina sent a long text with no punctuation. "Sabrina, I don't know why you hate seeing me happy, but I hope someday you realize I needed you and you chose paperwork." I almost responded. My thumb hovered over the screen. Then Monica's voice came back to me. "Paper beats panic. I made a folder on my laptop called Home Team Documents because I was still petty enough to enjoy that. I saved screenshots, photos, voicemails, and the scanned estate pages. Then I froze my credit. The notifications came in one by one, clinical and strangely comforting. It felt like locking doors I hadn't known were open. At work, I pulled my own credit report during lunch. I expected a few inquiries from the mortgage process. I found those. I also found an old joint utility account I didn't recognize. The address attached to it was Sabrina's Candle Studio. I stared at the screen so long my sandwich went warm in its wrapper. I remembered that studio. The exposed brick wall she posted online. The little launch party where Mom asked me to help arrange cupcakes. The lavender candles that gave Dad headaches. The way Sabrina said she was building something real. Apparently, she had built at least part of it in my name. There were 2 late payments from years ago. Not enough to destroy my credit, but enough to prove a pattern. Cold anger is different from hot anger. Hot anger makes you want to throw your phone. Cold anger makes you save a PDF, rename it properly, and back it up twice. Mr. Whitaker's office smelled like old books and coffee. He was 67, neat, calm, and careful with every word. He wore a gray sweater under his blazer, as if he had given up pretending the Wisconsin spring was warm. I sat across from him with my folder in my lap. "I'll be direct," he said. "Your grandmother left you a protected savings account and a partial ownership interest in a small rental property. The arrangement allowed your mother to assist administratively until you reached 25. Assist administratively, I repeated. That did not mean redirect funds for other purposes. My mouth went dry. Was I supposed to be told at 25? Yes. I wasn't. He folded his hands. I gathered that. He showed me copies of documents I had never seen, notices, transfer instructions, and a letter addressed to me at my parents' house from 4 years ago. Your mother signed acknowledging receipt of this, he said. I looked at her signature. Marla. Smooth, familiar, and suddenly ugly. What happened to the money? I asked. That is what we need to determine fully. I can say, based on preliminary records, there were distributions and loans against the expected value that require explanation. Loans for Sabrina? He did not answer quickly, which was answer enough. Some payments appear connected to obligations not in your name originally, he said. Some may have been framed as family expenses. None of this should have occurred without your informed consent after age 25. I thought about every Venmo request I had sent that went ignored. $40 for Mom's prescription pickup. $72 for Sabrina's emergency phone bill. $300 for Dad's truck repair when he promised to pay me Friday. All those little amounts I had swallowed because asking twice felt rude. Meanwhile, there had been an account with my name on it, sitting behind a wall of family guilt. What do? I asked. We start by securing what remains, Mr. Whitaker said. Then we request records. In writing. No informal agreements. No verbal promises. I laughed once quietly. My family hates writing things down. People often do when writing is inconvenient. By the time I left his office, Madison had warmed just enough for dirty snow to slide off curbs in chunks. I sat in my Civic and read the sticky note again. For Brielle because she won't ask. Grandma had been wrong about one thing. I was asking now. Over the next week, I stopped being available in the way my family expected. When Mom called, I texted. Please put anything related to finances in writing. When Dad wrote, we're your parents, not strangers, I replied. Then you should want this handled clearly. When Sabrina sent, you're destroying my life over old paperwork, I did not respond. The home team chat turned into a small storm. Mom, this is getting hurtful. Dad, you need to come by and talk face to face. Sabrina, Nolan is asking questions now, so thanks for that. Mom, Brielle, your silence is very cruel. I screenshotted everything. Monica noticed the change before anyone else did. You're less shaky, she said one afternoon while we reviewed direct deposit corrections. I'm still shaky. I'm just doing it alphabetically now. She smiled. That's growth. The credit union called Sabrina after I removed any possible authorization and declined involvement. 2 days later, Nolan texted me. Nolan, the pre-approval is being reviewed again. Sabrina said this is because you froze your credit out of spite. Me. I froze my credit because accounts were opened or used in ways I did not authorize. Nolan. What accounts? I paused. He wasn't my responsibility. He had accepted Sabrina's version because it was easier, but he also hadn't been cruel to me. Me. Ask Sabrina about the Candle Studio utilities. Ask her about the down payment funds. Ask to see actual statements. He didn't answer for several hours. Then, can we meet? I said no, not alone. Not yet. That night, Mom invited me over for a calm talk. Her exact words were, just family, no drama, no paperwork games. That told me there would absolutely be drama and paperwork games. I agreed on one condition: Nolan had to be there. Mom resisted immediately. Mom, this is private family business. Me, he is signing a mortgage with Sabrina. He should understand the finances. Dad, you are making this adversarial. Me, I'll be there at 6. I printed copies at work the next day after clocking out so no one could accuse me of using company time. Estate documents, credit report pages, the mortgage funding worksheet, and a letter Mr. Whitaker had sent requesting a full accounting and freezing further action tied to the inherited assets. I put them in a clean folder and drove to my parents' house with both hands steady on the wheel. That surprised me. I had expected to feel scared. Maybe I was scared, but underneath it was something sturdier. When I walked in, the house smelled like lemon cleaner and tension. Mom had set out coffee nobody was drinking. Dad stood in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed. Sabrina sat on the couch in leggings and an oversized sweatshirt, looking pale and wounded. Nolan sat beside her, but not touching her. The framed engagement photos on the wall suddenly looked like advertisements for a product nobody had tested. Mom tried to hug me. I stepped back. Her face changed just for a second. Then she smiled as if I had embarrassed her. Okay, she said. So that's where we are. I sat in the armchair across from the couch and placed my folder on my knees. Dad said, before this turns into whatever you planned, I want to say we are disappointed. I figured. Sabrina needed help, Mom said. You know how hard things have been for her. I know everyone says that whenever money comes up. Sabrina's eyes filled. You're being so cold. I'm being careful. Dad looked at the folder. What is that? Documents. Mom gave a short laugh. Of course. I opened the folder and handed Nolan the first set of pages. Sabrina sat up. Why are you giving those to him? Because he was told I had agreed to co-sign. I hadn't. He was told the down payment was from your savings and help from Mom and Dad. It wasn't. He was told you were debt-free. Nolan looked at Sabrina. She whispered, Bree. I kept going before I could lose my nerve. The estate-linked funds on the mortgage worksheet trace back to an account Grandma Elaine left to me. Not to the family. Not to Sabrina. To me. Control was supposed to transfer when I turned 25. Dad's face went still. Mom said, that is a very simplified version. Then complicate it. No one spoke. I handed Dad the attorney letter. He took it as if it might burn him. Mr. Whitaker is requesting a full accounting, I said. He has copies of the mortgage paperwork, the estate documents, and the transfer records he could access. I also pulled my credit report. Sabrina looked away. Nolan noticed. What credit report? He asked. I gave him that page too. There was a joint utility account connected to Sabrina's Candle Studio. I never authorized it. Nolan read it. His mouth tightened. Sabrina. She shook her head. It wasn't like that. What was it like? He asked. Mom jumped in. It was a confusing time. The studio had deposits and vendors and... Was Brielle asked? Nolan said. Mom closed her mouth. Sabrina started crying for real then, but not the soft dinner party kind. This was frustrated, cornered crying. I was trying to keep my business open, she said. Everyone said we were all helping. I didn't, I said. You never needed it like I did. The room went so quiet I heard the ice maker drop in the freezer. There it was. Not hidden under family language. Not dressed up as support or kindness or keeping peace. You never needed it like I did. I looked at my parents. Is that what you thought too? Dad rubbed a hand over his face. Mom's eyes were wet now, but her voice stayed defensive. You were stable. Sabrina was struggling. Your grandmother would have wanted us to keep the family together. No, I said. Grandma wrote the opposite. I pulled out the sticky note, sealed in a plastic sleeve because I had become exactly that kind of person. Mom stared at it and looked away first. Nolan stood up, still holding the credit report. I asked you if there was anything financial I needed to know, he said to Sabrina. She wiped her face. I was embarrassed. You lied. I was scared you'd leave. He looked exhausted. Not heroic. Not dramatic. Just like a man realizing the floor was not where he thought it was. I need space, he said. Sabrina reached for him. Nolan, please. He stepped back. Not tonight. Mom turned on me then. Are you happy now? My old self would have rushed to explain. To soften. To make sure nobody hated me too much. Instead, I put the documents back in my folder. No, I said. I'm not happy. I'm done being useful to people who confuse access with love. Dad finally spoke, low and strained. What do you want? A full accounting. Repayment of anything improperly used. Removal from any account I didn't authorize. Written communication only about finances. And no more using my name, credit, or inheritance for Sabrina. Mom whispered. You do that to your own family? I stood. You already did it to me. The mortgage fell apart within a week. Technically, the credit union called it a withdrawn application after cosigner removal and unresolved funding verification. Sabrina called it sabotage. Mom called it a painful misunderstanding. Dad didn't call it anything. He stopped calling much at all. Nolan moved into his brother's spare room for a while. He didn't ask me to become his source of truth or his therapist, which I appreciated. He sent one message a month later. Nolan, I should have asked more questions. I'm sorry for my part. I replied, thank you. I hope you make the right choices for yourself. That was all. Mr. Whitaker did not magically fix everything in one afternoon. Real life involved letters, records requests, tense emails, and phrases like formal settlement and repayment schedule. My parents did not get dragged away or make tearful speeches. They hired someone to review the records, then agreed to repay funds over time and transfer what remained fully under my control. The rental property interest was modest, not movie money. A small duplex in Janesville with aging gutters and tenants who had lived there for years. The savings account was not enough to buy a mansion or quit my job. But it was enough to repair the damage, pay off my car, replace the broken mirror, and move into an apartment where the laundry wasn't in a basement that smelled like wet cardboard. It was enough to give me choices. The first time the repayment deposit hit my account, I didn't celebrate. I sat at my desk after work and stared at the number until the office lights clicked off over the empty cubicles. Then I went home and made grilled cheese for dinner because my body did not know what to do with justice except crave buttered bread. The family group chat went quiet after I left it. Mom still emailed sometimes. Her messages were careful now with subject lines like, checking in, and, hope you're well. She never fully apologized. She said things like, mistakes were made during a stressful period, and, I hope someday we can move forward. I kept my replies short when I replied at all. Dad sent a birthday card with a grocery store gift card inside. No note beyond love, Dad. I used the gift card. I did not confuse it with repair. Sabrina blocked me for 3 months, unblocked me to send a message saying she hoped I was enjoying winning, then blocked me again before I could answer. I didn't chase her. That felt strange at first, like ignoring an alarm. Then it felt peaceful. Aunt Verna came to see my new place in Madison after I moved. It was still a one-bedroom, but it had big windows, in-unit laundry, and no dental office downstairs. We ate takeout at my new kitchen island because I hadn't bought a table yet. You look taller, she said. I'm the same height. I didn't say you grew. A week later, I bought myself a decent coffee table. Solid wood, simple, a little more expensive than I would have allowed myself before. I brought it home in the back of my Civic with the new mirror shining clean on the passenger side. I assembled the table on a Saturday morning with coffee on the floor and sunlight coming through the blinds. One screw rolled under the couch. I found it. The table didn't wobble. For years, I thought being loved meant being the person nobody had to worry about. The one who adjusted, covered, paid, forgave, and stayed quiet so dinner could keep going. But quiet was not peace. It was just the sound I made while other people spent what belonged to me. Now my accounts are mine. My credit is locked unless I unlock it. My documents are scanned, backed up, and boring in the best possible way. On Sundays, I still sometimes think about my parents' dining room. The paper plates, the blue frosting, Sabrina's ring flashing while my future sat inside a folder nobody expected me to read. Then I make coffee, sit at my steady little table, and open my laptop only if I feel like it. No one gets to type my name on their plans anymore. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.